The first season of the House of the Dragon series was the perfect answer to those Westerosi fans who believed that the Game of Thrones series ended terribly. It started with the promise of delivering a mesmerizing epic filled with drama and intrigue, and it delivered well on that. With the second season currently in the works, we can hope it matches the hype. Steve Toussaint has something to say about it, and we can project a bit about what is going to happen from the books. That's what we are going to be doing in this video. Stay tuned. What has Steve Toussaint said about the second season? Steve Toussaint is a British actor that currently plays Corlys Velaryon, who is arguably one of the 5 most influential people in all of Westeros, and maybe even beyond the Narrow Sea, considering the fact that he also became one of the richest men from trading there. Given this, it is to be expected that the actor would have more insight into the dynamics of how politics in the Westeros country is played. Having acted as the character for a whole season, it is understandable that he is able to glean Corlys's motivations and priorities and how these would shape the choice of House Velaryon in the coming Dance of the Dragons, allowing us to foreshadow with the 5 most ominous words Mr. Toussaint has uttered. It would be an all-out war. But then, you already knew that, didn't you? That's what the Dance of the Dragon is all about. The strongest house in Westeros embroiled in an internal conflict so devastating that House Targaryen never quite recovered from it. In this war, all the great houses would either ally themselves with the usurpers consisting of Aegon and the High Towers, or Rhaenyra, Daemon, and the rest of the Targaryen family. It seems the Velaryons have thrown in their lot with Rhaenyra, and of course, this makes things quite interesting. Throughout the first season, we see that the Velaryons have many reasons to be mad at the Targaryens and that their feelings towards them are not entirely clear. Steve talks about this possible development. He initiates that while Corlys may have misgivings about Rhaenyra, he most likely has a firm conviction that she is the rightful heir to the throne, and he is going to back that with his support. He also expresses that Corlys feels contempt for the High Towers. The move for the throne right after just the death of King Viserys and against his wishes is a most treacherous one, and it is a blight on the honor of Westeros that must be corrected, be guided. I'm basically just paraphrasing him here. Another thing to consider is that his support for Rhaenyra's claim comes from a place of grudging vindictiveness and a thirst for revenge. The Greens actually did kill his grandson after all, and while he knows that Lucerys actually isn't his blood, the boy officially carries the name of House Velaryon. The kinslayer Aemond has to pay for touching one of House Velaryon's blood, at least in name. Let's analyze this a bit and project what it may mean for Aegon and the High Towers. The High Towers are out of their element in King's Landing, a long way from their home in the Reach. Sure, the power grab would definitely be backed by their liege lords, the Tyrells, and the rest of their fellow vassals in the Reach. It has to be said that no other lord with a shred of honor would back them. Corlys Velaryon is clearly the most influential man in Westeros and presently the richest, so his support for Rhaenyra would most likely draw many other great lords to their cause, hoping to curry favor with the rightful queen and buddy up to the powerful sea snake. Be that as it may, I don't see Greens being so easy to defeat. Not all great houses would declare for the Blacks, and even if they did, the penetration of King's Landing would be hard to achieve. We will give our own projections for the series soon, but Steve has been pretty mum about the whole thing. It's been relatively easy for him, I'd wager, considering the fact that he admits that he hasn't actually seen any scripts for the season. He's only writing on his relationship with Corlys and what he's been told by the showrunners. During the official Game of Thrones convention, he spoke in further detail about how Corlys might have been feeling, and it might open up another avenue for a new plot to be explored. He mentions how Corlys would be absolutely devastated by the death of Lucerys and how the desire for revenge might open him up to doing very wild things. He is very close to Lucerys despite him not being blood, and he is aware that Lucerys never actually wanted much to do with politics. He reckons that would further enrage Corlys, but then, let's remember that that's just Steve Toussaint's perspective. The franchise is definitely one of the most unpredictable out there, so we know that all our ideas of what may develop would most likely be wrong at the end of the day. So what then do we know for sure about the second season, and how is it going to play out? I think it's worth mentioning here that if you've read the books and think somehow that the series is going to be a play-by-play repetition of what you read, you're operating on the fantasy of your wildest dreams. In case the intensity of that expression doesn't hit you, understand that dreams are pretty wild. Very few things would come out of this series that would be something that you 100% predicted. Firstly, we know for sure that we aren't getting a second season in 2023. The showrunners know how much we want it, and they're decided to starve us till they're ready. Good idea, personally. I like the waiting to reach a crescendo before actually seeing it. Plus, it's normal for the production of such a huge series to take a lot of time before it's finished. The release date for the second season hasn't been announced, but we can project that ourselves from what we know of the filming schedules. Let's start with our knowledge of the fact that the first season started filming in April 2021 and closed almost a year later in February 2022, then was released in August of that year. Following the exact schedule and reports that the second season would start filming in early 2023, we can comfortably say it would probably be aired in the middle of 2024. That's quite far from now, but let's hope it's worth it. Miguel Sapochnik also has resigned from his position as co-showrunner, leaving the space open for Ryan Condal to run the show in the second season. This is coming after 3 years of his investment in the show. Still, the good news is that Ryan Condal is expected to work very closely with George R.R. Martin, meaning that what we are going to get is going to be as close to George's vision for the series as possible. This is especially important for those of us that went through that miserable ordeal of the 8th season of Game of Thrones, where George's input was little to none. Miguel would stay on as an executive producer alongside Alan Taylor. This also spells good tidings for the next season. Alan Taylor directed some episodes in the first and second seasons of Game of Thrones, so we know he knows what he is doing. Hopefully, these new creative capacities will allow these men to shine forth in the new season. Not that we're desperate, but it shows the series is going in the right direction. And for those of you who are expecting Millie Alcock and Emily Carey to return for the second season, we have learned that it just isn't possible at the moment. This rules out any substantial flashbacks and maybe even time travel. Hey, you never know what might happen. From clouding the second season, both actresses played the younger Rhaenyra and Alicent Hightower respectively. The way Ryan puts it, both actresses aren't in the vision for now. We shouldn't actually rule out the possibility of both appearing in future seasons though. He does, after all, admits he's not closing the door on anything. We may actually get to the time travel story we talked about earlier, eh? And now to the story. What do you expect to see? Fans that are still here from the previous series know that The House of the Dragon has been positively sunnier than Game of Thrones ever was. It was nice and it was necessary. They were basically introducing characters and many have already become fan favorites. Things would change now though. Do not hope for heroes and honor in the second series. You should basically go in with the knowledge that you are going to be supporting war criminals. Nobody is a saint and everyone is a sinner. Take Daemon for instance. He's been a pretty chill and badass guy, but then who is he going to become in war? How far do you think he would go to protect his family or win the throne? You knew he was dangerous in the beginning. What do you think he would become now that he thinks Helena Hightower and Otto, her father, killed his brother to take his throne? What do you think would happen when he finds out Vhagar ate his adopted son? Do we expect an epic battle between Caraxes and Vhagar? There are so many questions. What would Rhaenyra become in the quest to win back her throne? Would she become like Daenerys? We'd know in 2024. For now, let us sit back and hope the showrunners are cooking something really special for us. A meal worthy of being compared to the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones. Let's hope, let's hope. And don't worry, all your favorite actors and actresses will return in season 2. There's going to be no recasting, and House of the Dragon isn't the only Westerosi series we are to expect. There are many other titles in development, including the spin-off shows following the adventures of Jon Snow, Corlys Velaryon, and Princess Nymeria. You might remember that she was a heroine of Arya Stark. It seems like HBO is going to stuff us with a lot. Are you ready for it? If you enjoyed this video, like it and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more. You would want to be alerted whenever there are new developments on the show. Hit the notification bell and comment your thoughts in the comment section. We look forward to engaging with you. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.